Two successful movie producers, Noah and Rachel, are having breakfast on a restaurant terrace. They discuss the budget for a sequel to a very popular movie that earned $100 million at the box office. They speak very quietly because they suspect that someone might overhear them. Some curious people indeed eavesdrop on their conversation. Can you find them? There's a guy at the table holding a magazine upside down. Obviously, he is not interested in reading it. He must be listening to Noah and Rachel. That lady has a camera lens sticking out of her backpack, so she's probably a reporter. Fans will be able to read the producer's lips if she posts this video. And this handsome guy is busy eating his salad, but there's a microphone hidden in his long hair. Four people enter the same restaurant and take a seat on the terrace. Jill is wearing two large gold bracelets and gold rings on each of her fingers. Mark is fiddling with a brand new phone and checking the time on his smartwatch. Kevin has a fancy tattoo on his hand and a dazzling gold watch on his wrist. Luke doesn't have any watches, rings, or bracelets, but he's wearing a smart suit. Only one of them is a millionaire. Can you guess who? It's Luke. He's got car keys in his pocket, and there's a brand new sports car parked nearby. Jill has old ripped shoes. All that gold can be fake. Mark's phone is a knockoff, and Kevin has old ripped shoes, just like Jill. After the meeting, Noah returns to his place. He needs these three items. Can you help him find them? Here they are. Noah wants to read the secret sequel script on his laptop. This file is protected by a password which Noah doesn't remember, but here's a hint. He should enter all the bold numbers one by one. But first, he needs to decide what numbers to put instead of the question marks. He just needs to put a multiplication sign between the numbers on the left, so the answers are 0 and 18. And here's the correct password. Later that night, Noah throws a party at his house, where he usually lives alone. Everyone from his work is invited. In the middle of the party, Rachel finds Noah poisoned in his bedroom. A detective arrives to investigate and questions three main suspects: Amy, Kelly, and Connor. All of them deny entering Noah's bedroom. Who's lying? It must be Amy. Take a look at the bed. There's an earring. Amy is only wearing one earring that looks the same. Busted! Rachel lives with her husband, Chuck, and three daughters. Her dream is to go to the Academy Awards ceremony with Chuck. But unfortunately, her husband is an introvert. So he says, "All right, I'll go with you if you manage to bring me some water." Chuck only gives her a colander to fulfill this task. Can you help Rachel find a solution? She needs to freeze some water and put it in the colander. Technically, it's still water, right? It's time to choose an outfit for the ceremony. Rachel has three dresses: a yellow one, a red one, and a black one. Which dress should she wear? Rachel should wear the red dress. That button on the yellow dress is about to come off, and someone spilled some paint on the black dress. Rachel sneaks into her daughter's room to investigate who stained the black dress. This is the bed of the oldest daughter, Shelley. This bed belongs to Lily, the middle daughter. And this is the bed of Ella, the youngest one. Can you help Rachel figure out who ruined her dress? Ella. There's a half-empty bottle of nail polish on her dresser. The color matches the stains perfectly. Busted! Rachel gets ready and calls her two best friends to show them her outfit. Their names are Violet and Amber. They're putting on their makeup and getting ready for a night out too. Violet and Amber have really similar tastes. Their phones look the same and so do their lipsticks and clothes. But, in fact, one of them has the more expensive stuff. Can you guess who? Take a look at Amber. Her dress logo gives her away since it's obviously a knockoff. One famous magician is performing at the ceremony's after party. He's going to show his most spectacular trick. The magician puts 8 different cards on the table and covers them with a black cloth. He asks Rachel to come closer.
Now you'll see 2 rows of 4 cards. I want you to select only one of them.
He lifts the cloth for 1 second and then covers the cards again. Rachel chooses one card. The magician looks at her and whispers,
"Now close your eyes. Think about the card. Think of nothing else. I'm going to read your mind now."
She closes her eyes. After a few seconds, the magician says,
Take a look at the table. I've removed your card and replaced it with a new one.
Rachel opens her eyes and it's magic! He indeed removed the card she thought about. But how did he do it? There's no magic here. The magician replaced all the cards on the table with new ones. But Rachel didn't notice this since she was only focused on one card. Oliver is a famous movie director. He throws an after party in his hotel room after the ceremony and invites 3 actresses, Anna, Mona, and Donna. The next morning, a cleaning lady finds Oliver alone and unconscious in his room. None of the hotel staff or the actresses know what happened to him. The police arrive and they find a note next to Oliver's calendar. It reads 3, 10, 11, 8. The detective already knows who attacked Oliver. What about you? It was Mona. The note was next to a calendar. Take the first letters of each month and you get the name Mona. The next day, Rachel goes to the local farmer's market. Can you spot anything odd here? This lady is selling bakery goods, but the sign says fresh phones. Rachel approaches an apple seller. The green apple costs $1. A red one costs $2, and a blue apple costs $3. What apples and how many of them did Rachel buy if we know that she spent a total of $3 using only 2 bills? Rachel bought a green and a red apple. She paid for the green apple with a $1 bill, and she used the $2 bill to pay for the red apple. Of course, she could have grabbed a blue apple and given the same $3, but blue apples don't exist. Rachel is watching 3 people standing in front of an ice cream cart. The first guy is taking his ice cream from the seller. The guy behind him is nervous. His hands are in his pockets. The third guy is looking at something through his binoculars. One of them is a police officer. Can you guess who? It's the first guy. He has a police radio in his pocket. Rachel enters a local high-tech fair. Cyborgs are working here along with humans, but one of these robots is defective. Can you spot which one? The cyborg on the right has 2 thumbs on one palm. What do you say about these 2 cyborgs? The lady on the right is the defective one. Her hands need to be fixed. What about these robots? Which one is defective? It's the guy on the left. His eye needs to be fixed. Like every morning, Daphne went to her favorite local cafe to get her coffee and breakfast sandwich. She left the cafe after she'd paid. A few minutes later, she returned, looking anxious, because she had forgotten her wallet. Strangely, it was nowhere to be found. She called the police to report the incident. Nobody had left the store, so the thief was still there when the officer arrived. He started questioning everyone. Jenny, the cashier, said that Daphne was a regular customer and she had known her for a long time. So, she would never steal her wallet, and she didn't see it after Daphne had paid. Andre was a tourist visiting the city for the first time. He said he'd come to the cafe because he'd wanted to try their famous muffins. She claimed he hadn't seen the wallet. He was busy trying to pick what type of muffin he should get at the time. And Harry worked as a store clerk. He said that he'd come there to grab a coffee, and he didn't see the wallet because he was pouring milk into his coffee. So who do you think stole the wallet? It was Harry, the store clerk, or should I say Harold. Do you see his name tag? He lied about his name when he ordered his drink. Also, even though he said he was pouring milk in his coffee, as you can see, it doesn't have any milk in it. Jessica was an aspiring actor, and she had a big musical theater audition that day. She left her house early in the morning to make it on time, but she had forgotten to take her sheet music with her, so she had to drive back. When she walked in, though, she saw her roommate lying on the floor unconscious. A nurse was standing beside her. She explained to Jessica that her roommate had been poisoned, but luckily, she'd had enough time to call an ambulance before she passed out. Jessica immediately realized something was wrong. She thanked the nurse for helping her friend and asked her if she could get her a glass of water or anything else. The nurse agreed, and Jessica hurried to the kitchen. There, she called the police saying, "There's a fake nurse in my house. She poisoned my roommate and tried to rob her." How did Jessica understand that? When she arrived at the house, there was no ambulance car in the driveway or in the street, and it's not like paramedics started using Uber. And you might have also noticed that the paramedic bag the nurse was holding was slightly open, and Jessica's roommate's jewelry was dangling out of it. Anna and Catherine are both influencers, but take a look at the latest photos they posted. Which of these ladies do you think is richer? Catherine is richer, of course. Just look at the number of likes on her photo. She has 27,907 likes. Anna, on the other hand, has 9,837, which means that Catherine has way more followers and must be earning millions. Annie managed to buy presents for everyone except her dad. She knew what everyone wanted, but her dad was kind of secretive and not the talking type. He was also not great with technology and never bought anything online, so there was no way she could sneak into her dad's computer and check the saved items in his shopping cart. But he always liked to make lists in his little notebook, and Annie was sure she might be able to find a wish list there. So she sneaked into her father's office one day to look for the notebook. It was nowhere to be found, but his study table had a locked drawer. She looked for the key around the room but couldn't find it anywhere. That's when 2 different sticky notes attached to 2 different books inside the bookcase caught her eye. The first note was attached to a psychology book and had P5487TH written on it. The second note was attached to a detective novel and said P21320TH. Annie immediately knew what the notes meant. Can you guess what she had to do? She had to open to page 548 in the first book and find the seventh word on this page. Then, she had to open page 213 in the second book and find the 20th word on that page. The words she found were under and desk. The girl immediately looked under the desk and found the drawer key taped to it. James was walking back to his apartment from work late at night. Suddenly, he was hit on the head and taken away. When he woke up, he found himself in a small room. He tried to escape, but the door was locked with a padlock. James tried to look for the key, but there was nothing in there but a window with strange-looking metal bars. Suddenly, he noticed something. It helped him to find the key. Do you see it too? One of the metal bars is different from the others. That one is the key. Giselle was camping in the forest during a night when the moon was full. After midnight, when she was making s'mores by a fire, she heard a loud howl. There was a werewolf in the forest, and it managed to find Giselle's tent because it smelled of food there. Thankfully, Giselle was not in her tent anymore when the werewolf arrived because she had already run away. Hiding behind a tree, she watched the creature eat her s'mores and tear up the tent. When the werewolf left before sunrise, the girl returned to her tent, but everything was ruined. There was no more food or water left. Her cell phone had run out of battery, so she couldn't call anyone. She started wandering through the forest, and soon she came upon a witch's house. When she walked in, she saw the witch and another lady. Giselle asked the witch if she could send her home. The witch agreed to help her on one condition. She would only send Giselle home if she guessed her sister's name. If not, she would turn her into a frog. Giselle knew the answer, but how? Did you notice that the witch's sister is wearing the same necklace around her neck as the werewolf? Well, Giselle did, and there's a name written on the necklace: Abigail. Zoe went to a security guard and reported that her gym bag was missing. She said she'd gone to the ladies' restroom after her dance cardio class. She was fixing her hair when someone came up from behind and pushed her. So she didn't see the person who had taken her bag. The security guard refused to check the footage from the security camera that was outside the restroom. Neither did he file a report. Why? Zoe said she was fixing her hair, so she must have been looking in the mirror. If she was telling the truth about someone sneaking up from behind, she would have definitely seen their reflection. So, Zoe probably lied so that she could sue them. Luckily, the security guard was super smart. Several women went missing in a small town. James Darcy and his police team had been searching for months, but they couldn't find the place where the women were kept. One day, when Sandra was jogging, she decided to use another route to get home. As she was passing an old cabin, she heard screams coming from its basement. She immediately called James Darcy to report it. James and his team arrived at the place and busted in. They found there 3 women. They all said that they had been locked in the basement for months, but James knew one of them was lying. The first woman said that her name was Tammy and that she had spent almost 8 months in the basement. The second woman claimed that her name was Hannah and that she had been there for almost 5 months. The third woman told him that her name was Allison and that she had stayed there for about 3 months. Can you tell who the liar is? Allison is telling the truth. Look at her. Her clothes are dirty. Her hair is greasy. Her roots have started to grow out. She definitely hasn't seen daylight for a long time. The same goes for Hannah. But look at Tammy. She looks clean. Her clothes look new. Her hair and makeup look fresh. so it must be her who is lying. David spent his summer break at a science camp that was at a big space facility. When the summer break ended and school started, he told his friends from the science club all about his camp adventures. He said that at the facility, he had found a secret room. And in there was a time machine. He stepped into it and pressed some buttons to test if it really worked, and it did. He traveled through time and was able to talk to Nikola Tesla, Chuck Berry, and King Aragorn. But one of his friends immediately called him out for lying. How did he know that David made up this whole thing? Well, even if David actually managed to travel through time, he might have been able to talk to Nikola Tesla and Chuck Berry, but definitely not King Aragorn, because he is a fictional character.